Here's a question for you. Are cameras more expensive now than they were 10 years ago or even 20 years ago? That's the question I'm about to answer. But before I do that, I want to say a big thank you to everybody who's contributed to this channel. Not meaning just me contributing these videos to you guys, for you guys to watch. I mean everybody who's liked and subscribed, anybody who's shared the video, put comments on the videos. This is the community that I'm building with this channel. I want to thank you guys for being here and supporting me. It hasn't been an easy journey since I started this channel. Working full-time does have a big impact on being able to create for this channel. But in the past year, we've had 361 new subscribers. There's been 118,000 views on the channel, 28 uploads, 28 videos throughout the year, almost 2,000 likes on the videos, 236 comments. I know it's not a huge amount, but in terms of the amount of uploads I've had and the subscribers I've got, I think I'm doing pretty well. And 305 shares for the whole year. So I'm really pleased with the growth of this channel, especially in this past year. It's grown quite a bit. But anyway, back to the video in hand, and we shall talk about the price of cameras over the years. So when I first bought a DSLR, which was around about 2005, it was a Nikon D70, and I bought the 18-70 kit lens with it. Now that, from memory, was around about the $2,000 mark. Now I'll put this in New Zealand dollars. For you guys who want to convert it, you convert it over to US dollars or whatever currency you work with in your country. But this is New Zealand dollars I'm talking about in the whole video. Now, this camera was a crop sensor camera, 6 megapixels, 2-inch rear screen. I think it had one card slot in it for a CF Express card. No, sorry, it wasn't a CF Express, it was a compact flash card. Now, I only had a 1 gigabyte card, only one card. I could only afford to get one card at that time. We were going to go away on holiday soon after, and spent quite a bit of money on this camera, and the cards were quite expensive, and I can't remember exactly how much they were, like $300 or $400 or something stupid like that. It was ridiculous, really. But a 1 gigabyte card, I could hold 1,000 JPEGs on. I thought, well, on holiday can have plenty of memory. But as it turned out, I ended up having to go through my images by the end of the holiday and delete some of the rubbish photos on it, so I didn't run out of memory, and I didn't have any alternative to back it up or anything like that. But anyway, that camera in 2005 was $2,000. Now, I used a calculator online to get the inflation adjusted prices for these, and this is provided by the Bank of New Zealand, this inflation calculator for here in New Zealand. It may differ in different countries, obviously it will, with different inflation and stuff like that. But anyway, that from 2005 to 2024, that equates to around $3,200 here in New Zealand. So for $3,200 at my local camera store, I get the equivalent sort of model, crop sensor camera. Get a Z50, the original model, and you could get the like 16-50 kit lens with it for $1,585. So in terms of value for money, that's like half of the inflation adjusted price of that original camera. For a little bit more, you could get the 50-250 lens with it for just under $2,000, around about $1,850 on special. if you wanted to get, there's a later one in the Z50, which is a ZFC 16 to 50 kit lens for just under $2,000. The Z52, the second version with an 18 to 140 lens on it, you get for $2,638 New Zealand dollars. Now that's still less than the inflation adjusted cost of my original D70S. So in terms of that Nikon crop sensor kit, cameras haven't really jumped up in price really. Technology always seems to get cheaper, but I hear a lot of people online in forums and videos and stuff saying how cameras are getting more expensive. If you factor in inflation from say 10 or 20 years ago on a similar sort of model, you're getting a much better camera in terms of technology wise, bigger selection of lenses for around about the same money, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. So it seems like we're sort of in the same boat. We're paying about the same sort of money as we were 10 or 20 years ago, inflation adjusted. With that Nikon camera, you could also step up to a full frame model. If you wanted to get like the Z5 and a 24 to 50 kit lens, you get it for just under $3,000. Normal price, because it's on special here in New Zealand at this time of the year, at the end of the year, normal price is around $3,400 or so dollars. Still just a little bit more than the inflation adjusted price of that D70, but a much better camera and full frame. You could get the Z5 with a 24 to 70 f4 kit lens for just a little bit more money, $3,500 on special. Or you could get a Z6 II for $3,200, just the body only, and buy a lens afterwards. But these cameras are just miles ahead of what you would pay for in 2005. Here's another example, Nikon. A Nikon D850 launched in 2017. Here in New Zealand retailed for around about 5,400 New Zealand dollars. 45 megapixel full frame camera. Now, people on the internet say it's one of the best DSLRs ever manufactured. I've not tested one, so I can't tell. I can't give my honest opinion on that. But inflation adjusted price, which really shocked me with the inflation adjusted price, was it come out at $8,800. That seems a lot over 7 years. But anyway, for that money you could get a Z7 II, a Nikon Z7 II for around about $5,000. That's the body only, and this is like with the D850, it's a body only price. A Z8 here in New Zealand is just under $7,500. It's on special again. Both those cameras are going to give you sort of similar image quality to the D850, maybe better higher ISO performance in it, but still less money than the inflation adjusted price for the D850. Away from Nikon, here's another brand, Sony. Now they launched their mirrorless cameras in around 2013. So the original A7 and A7R models, the A7 was around about $3,000 and the A7R, the original one, was around just over the $4,000 mark. Now that's what the cost was for us here in New Zealand. Inflation adjusted, you're looking at just under the $4,000 mark for the A7 and just a bit over $5,000 for the A7R. Now the A7 Mark IV, the latest one that's just been released 2 or 3 years ago now, I think, which is due for an update. That here in New Zealand retailed for about $3,500. The A7R5 retails for around about the $5,500 mark, which that normal price is around about just over $6,000. So on special you're saving about $600, $700. The A7R5 is on special is very similar money. Normal retail price is a little dearer than the inflation adjusted price for the A7R, the original one. But the A7 IV is a little bit cheaper than the inflation adjusted price of the A7, the original one. So you're going to get ups and downs in different models, and you'll also get different price variations in different countries as well. Australia, America, England, wherever, they're all going to be slightly different. Now, on the more expensive side of cameras is Leica. They launched their SL series, the original SL, in 2015. Now that had a New Zealand price of just over $13,000 here in New Zealand. Inflation adjusted to now, you're looking at around $17,000. The current one, SL2, is $13,620. So that, if you look at the price of that now, to the inflation adjusted price, it's actually almost $4,000 cheaper. It's still around about the similar price as the non-inflation adjusted price here in New Zealand when the original one launched, just over $13,200, and now it's $13,600. So it's only like $400 dearer than the non-inflation adjusted price from 2015. So that sort of surprised me in Leica. I thought with these Leica cameras, they all seem to be very, very expensive and very niche as a product. I thought they would have been dearer, like some of these other, or like some of the Sony, for instance, I would have thought would have been a little bit dearer. But it's actually turned out to be less than the inflation adjusted price, if you know what I mean. So there you have it. I mean, I'm not going to go into every single camera model, every single camera make, but like I said earlier in the video, I see and hear a lot on the internet that cameras, it's quite expensive now, it's gone up a lot in price and whatnot. But when you look at what the equivalent model was back 10 years ago even, the inflation adjusted price is pretty similar. It's not always more expensive. Technology normally seems to get cheaper. I mean, here's an example. My current computer cost me about 3 years ago, cost me about just a little bit over 3,000 New Zealand dollars. Now I got the previous one I had before that, which would have been closer to 10 years ago, was around about the same sort of price, but nowhere near the specs of the computer that I've got now. So you see, around about the $3,000 mark for a pretty decent computer 10 years ago. Now I can get the same, I can pay the same sort of money, but get a way better computer, technology wise and specs wise, So I hope that's been helpful for some of you people who maybe think, cameras are just getting too expensive now, they've gone up and up in price. Just have a look at what the equivalent sort of model was back 10 years ago, like the Sony, for instance. They launched these in 2013. Have a look at the price for what they released in your country then, adjust it for inflation, and then see whether it's comparable to what you're paying now. You might be quite surprised at how close they really are. But with that, I shall say goodbye, and thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again in the next one. Bye bye.